Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. Welcome back to our weekly Q&A hosted by Al-Salam. Apologies, I had the live stream open and I could hear myself echoing. So some of you may know we did take a 1 week break. That was for a very specific reason because we at ASI, we had a student retreat, alhamdulillah. This retreat was in Leicester. Shaykh Akram joined us. I was there. Lots of ASI staff, the teachers, the students. Many of our regular Q&A, this weekly Q&A, our students that attend this, alhamdulillah, were able to come to. And it was so nice, alhamdulillah, to have questions and answers kind of in person, and to have a lot of you join us. So inshallah, I hope, inshallah, we'll continue with this Q&A and we can continue having regular students and maybe inshallah new students that come and join and benefit from these sessions. I don't want to take too long, but inshallah, we should be continuing now with this Q&A for the next few weeks, unless a post is given on Facebook or YouTube. So inshallah, please assume it's 6 p.m. To 6:30. If you're watching from YouTube or Facebook, you can just ask the questions under the live stream. It will come up for me, and then inshallah, I will try and take the questions in order. Now, Sheikh, I have quite an important question that was asked to me. I think, like I said, we had a break, so we had some questions come in prior to this live stream starting, and I thought, let me just start with it, inshallah. And I think many people will benefit. And this question is with regards to the state of kind of the future of Islam in the UK. And this kind of relates to, I guess, the current context that we're living in. I think now we're kind of seeing, okay, we're sending our kids to school. There are certain kind of things in terms of the education system that we can't, as parents, young parents, that they don't have control over anymore in terms of kids being exposed to certain things. For example, the LGBTQ are kind of not understanding the nuclear family and kind of just their minds and what they're being taught. We don't really have control over it anymore. The widespread kind of liberalism and how the current context is in the Western world. Sheikh, what would you say you think is the best advice to give Muslims, and especially Muslim parents that are kind of thinking about this and getting worried, thinking if they have to make hijrah to a Muslim country? What advice would you give to them?
Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. It is really a very important question, and people should be concerned about the future of their religion, for themselves or for their future generations. We have to understand that this world is run by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And He the Rabb, He the Lord, and He the one who keeps changing the conditions. He the one who, brings good conditions, bad conditions, improves everything. He does. What believers need to do, they need to obey Him in all the conditions. Sometimes it will be very good condition, so it is easy for you to, obey Him as much as possible. Sometimes there will be difficulties. You can't obey Him completely, but you can obey Him according to your own ability. The conditions keep changing. Allah's command is the believer should obey Him as best as possible. If something something is beyond their capacity, He does not burden them that. And then in the day of judgment, they will be pure, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not actually judge them for what they could not do, and they will be successful. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give result for their effort, whatever effort they make. So in this, if we're living in this time in the West, there are many things that we can do. So that we must do. Like at home, you can teach your children about religion, about Islam, about piety, the Quran, the translation, the Arabic language. And there are so many schools, part-time, like Al-Salam Institute or something like that, where people can learn Arabic language. So there are so many things that believers can do. But still they don't do. That is the real question, because they can do something they cannot have controlled. Like what is run by the state, the schools, the universities, and many things. There you don't have much control. So Allah will not ask about that. But many evils of those things which you don't control can be avoided if you run the space that you control properly. So if people study the Quran properly, learn Arabic language, make themselves stronger, their belief and their mind and thinking, Allah will help them. You can see there have been people raised in unfavorable conditions, but they have been the most pious people, like Ibrahim alayhi salam. The whole country, the whole house, everything was against him, but still he managed to be the best person. Similarly, the Muslims in Makkah, they were persecuted, and the Prophet ﷺ was not allowed to do many things, but they happened to be the best believers. The best believers are those people who actually happen to accept Islam in this condition. The people who were raised in Medina and born there, and they have got a state and power, and they can follow the religion as best as possible, everything in their favor, they were not the best people. They were actually not, they are the one who started fighting themselves and position and this and that. And I even can see now really when I go to Muslim country, the Muslims in UK, they are much, much better in many ways in religion than Muslims in Muslim world. They are much better. So, but what we need to do is to use our space properly. So whatever Allah has allowed us, we should do it. So, teach people the prayer about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, his power, his knowledge about the prophets, about the messengers, about the Quran, and then teach them Arabic language and the meaning of the Quran. Some people cannot learn Arabic language. At least they should learn the meaning of the Quran in the language that they know, maybe English or some other languages. That will help them and make effort to spend time with the pious people, good people. Like we did a retreat last weekend. So something like that is very helpful. So people meet people who are, on the same path. They support each other. They learn from each other. And when they become weaker, they come again, and then they again become stronger. So we have to make our best as much as possible. Then what we can do, Allah will help for us. But the problem of the Muslims is not that, that they can't do better in those places which is not controlled by them. No, the problem is because they don't do where they have control. We don't run the mosque properly, we don't run the madrasas properly, we don't teach children properly, we don't pray properly. So things which no state interferes, we don't do. Hardly 5 or 6% of Muslims pray in the masjid, maybe less than that. When you go Fajr time, only few people are there. So, nobody stops you from praying in the masjid. They allow you to build the mosque, they allow you to go there. So we should not complain about the space which we don't control. We should more worry about the space that we control, how much we use them, and how much we obey Allah in those things. So the problem really is still the space that is given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. More than 80% of the space we don't use properly. And Allah will question about that. And that's why we are becoming weaker and weaker, because what we can do, we don't do properly. Is it clear?
Yes, alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khairan, Shaykh. Okay, let's take a question from Shahriar, who is asking, there are many Islamic animated videos including characters resembling humans. Is this permissible?
Yeah, this question has come before as well, and I mentioned that time that I've written an article about this, and which actually I think I forwarded. But anyway, if you don't have, ask me, I can forward you and then share. So I don't need to repeat the same argument, again. It already written.
Okay, inshallah, if you, to the question, if you, inshallah, just type in Sheikh's name and the topic on Google, on Facebook, and it should come up. Sheikh has a lot of articles, a lot of posts that he's done in the past decade. And they are all pretty much available online. Okay, let's take a question from YouTube. Sarah is asking, my mum is in hospital. She cannot do wudu and people are not allowed to enter to help. What should she do?
Yeah, in that condition, if she can do tayammum, she should do tayammum. Tayammum is very easy. Just take any stone or something next to your mom. She keeps on the bed, and whenever she needs, she touches, and then once wipe the face. Second time, they touch the stone and wipe your hand, and then pray as much as possible. So if people can't do wudu, the next option is tayammum.
Okay, we have another fiqh question that we'll just take. Similar question. Sometime in airplanes we can't pray standing. Well, most of the time, to be honest, this is impossible. Is it allowed to pray sitting on our seat, or should we repeat the prayer after reaching our destination? So they're saying maybe if they pray sitting, then once they arrive, should they then repeat the prayer again?
Yeah, the way is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whenever He made something obligatory with the time, you have to do in the time. If you cannot do in the time properly, to do as best as possible, then you don't need to repeat. Like for people when they're fighting in the war, so they have to pray while, walking and, so many movements. Still the prayer is fine. If some people are, ill, they can't pray while standing, they pray while sitting. If they can't pray while sitting, they can pray while lying, and they don't read to repeat. The same thing in the aeroplane. If you cannot pray while standing, pray while sitting. That prayer is absolutely valid, and it is done, and then you don't need to repeat. Same thing if you're traveling by car, you can't stop on the road or somewhere. If you pray in the car, because you can't stop somewhere, you are very cold or something, it's impossible for you, then pray in the car while sitting, and it will be accepted. So our buses or a train or anywhere, actually, if you can't stand, then pray while sitting, and then you don't need to repeat it. Whatever has been done, that over for the other time.
Okay, Sheikh, just a little quick follow-up. She's saying her mum has, if someone's in hospital and they're on the bed and they have equipment attached to them and they're not even able to do tayammum, what should someone do in that situation?
So if somebody can do tayammum on their behalf, just touch the stone or wipe their face and hand, they can't do like that. Somebody else cannot do. Somebody else can do, so they do. And then this person, just prays when the time comes. So maybe combine between two prayers, Zuhr, Asr. If somebody can come and help in the Zuhr time, then tayammum, with that tayammum they can pray, Zuhr, Asr. Then maybe late Maghrib time, somebody can do tayammum, and they pray Maghrib and Isha.
Okay, inshallah. Sorry, I just realized this question wasn't the current one, it was the one before. Okay, inshallah. Let's take a question. I think I've seen one from Ibn Muhammad on YouTube. And he is asking about the ayah in Surah Yusuf. This is ayah 28. So فَلَمَّا رَأَى قَمِيصَهُ قَدَّ مِن دُبُرٍ قَالَ إِنَّهُ مِن كَيْدِكُنْ إِنَّ كَيْدَكُنَّ عَظِيمٌ. So he's asking about this verse. Is this referring to the kaid of women in general or only to Al-Aziz's wife?
It is this Aziz, he is saying to these women and, to his wife really, and then, in Qaida Kunna Azim, he makes more general. It could be, true that, the plan that women make sometimes very strong because it belongs to desire, and men very easily fall, prey of the desire. It could be strong in that sense really. But nothing is really strong because Shaitan, which is more powerful than the women. Shaitan is the one who misleads everybody. And same Quran says, "Inna kaida Shaitan kana da'ifa." The plot of Shaitan is very weak. So all plots are weak really, and plot of the women is part of the plot of Shaitan, because Shaitan is the one who influenced the men and women. So nothing is strong in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When people take refuge to him, everything is weak. So believers should take refuge to him. The plots only can become powerful when believers are cut off Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Okay, inshallah. Let's take a question from Facebook. We've got Iram who's asking an Arabic question. We don't normally get those on here, but maybe we'll see. Inshallah. She's saying the name Hamza is a masculine word and is an exception to the rule despite the fact that it ends with a hair. So why is it considered a ghayr munsarif word under the category of feminine names?
What is the exception there? I don't understand why exception, because Hamza is ghayr munsarif. The reason is ghayr munsarif, two things. One is alam, it is a name of somebody, and the other thing is ta'nith. It has got ta'nith in Arabic language. Is sometimes muannath haqiqi. Haqiqi is the opposite of the male gender. So like women, if somebody's name is Zainab, so it's muannath haqiqi, it will be ghayr munsarif all the time, because Zainab, if woman's name never can, if somebody names a woman Muhammad, it will be muannath. Women's name always must be muannath. So that's ta'nith haqiqi. So if a woman's name is Muhammad, it will be ghayr munsarif, because it is name and it is also, so you will say Muhammadu, referring to her. So whenever women's name come, it always ghayr munsarif. Men's name will be only ghayr munsarif if it has ta'nith lafzi, in it, sign of the ta'nith, like ta, عليه مقصورة وعليه ممدودة. Not مؤنث حقيقي, مؤنث لفظي. For غير منصرف, you don't need مؤنث حقيقي. مؤنث لفظي also can be one of the reason of غير منصرف. So somebody named Hamza or Talaha or something like that, that's غير منصرف because it's a name and also it's got ta. And ta is sign of مؤنث لفظي. So whenever مؤنث comes with a لفظي or حقيقي, it can make اسم غير منصرف if there is other reason like عالمي or something like that.
Okay, inshallah. I hope that was helpful, Aaron. Okay, I'm just trying to see. So, Sheikh, we have a question. I know we've covered this quite a lot, the topic of like the jilbab and what the conditions of it. But this Sister Miriam is asking a question a bit more specific in terms of khimar, the definition of khimar and definition of jilbab, and if they kind of contradict each other. So she's asking, what is the proper definition of jilbab? I read that it's one piece of fabric that covers from head to toe, but I find this definition a bit confusing as it interferes with the definition of khimar.
You know, khimar is the covering of the head. So the women cover their head, and then part, it is long enough to put part of it, under the, where the open in the neck, part, because even if your button is still something open, so you put your khimar there. That is khimar. So when you pray, you use khimar. Jilbab is something when you go outside, then you wear, and that is a loose sheet over your normal clothes, like you are wearing shirt, to put a loose cloth, not on the top. That already khimar is there anyway, just like on your shoulder, which can cover your shirt and up to your knees or something like that. So that is a loose. Maybe a long coat can serve the same purpose, or sheet, or any covering, or any cloak that can do. So I don't understand why it will be confusion between khimar and jilbab. They're two different things. Jilbab is the covering of the head, and khimar is the covering of the head, and jilbab is covering of the rest of the body, with a loose cloak over on the top of your normal clothes.
Just on that note, Sheikh, I think there's sometimes confusion. I even speak for myself when it comes to this, with the jilbab being the outer clothing you wear when you go outside. Especially living in the UK, the weather's been very, very cold, which means sometimes, you'll like wear a jumper on top of your jilbab or your abaya, or you wear like a coat and a scarf. And some people will then say, oh, but then now the shape of your shoulders are showing, or your shape of this or shape of that, and it should be over. Does it have to be kind of these kind of small details that we should be focusing on too?
If you have long coat, that's still fine. When you go outside, many people have the coat. That is like jilbab, loose, if they're loose coat. So you don't need really to have a, jilbab does not mean any name really. It just means something, extra, external or some, just covering their normal clothes. Because normal clothes of the women, they're attractive because they know the colors or designs. So if you put on something simple, so then people's attention does not go. Women don't think they're drawing the attention. That's all. But if somehow you are in jilbab and then put on, jumper or something, I don't think there's a problem really. Unless intention is to show off, that's another matter. Because when intention comes, then sin comes. If you don't have intention, it's a normal thing for you. I don't think there's any reason to doubt. But generally, I will say, just put on a coat when you're going for a long coat, and that will be fine in the winter.
Okay, inshallah. Let's if you give me one moment. Okay, so Zahid is asking a question. Just before I ask his question, I've seen quite a few questions coming through and they're not that clear. Please, inshallah, if you try and make your question more specific, because we do get a lot of questions. Sometimes they're quite repeated. They're repeated a lot. It'd be good to have them a little bit more specific so they're clear, inshallah. Okay, so his question is, we know women were working in Medina in every sector when the Prophet ﷺ was there. But some people say that it was before the ayat of modesty were revealed. Please, can you kind of give some clarity on this?
The verse about hijab, it's a different thing, nothing to do with that. After the verse, still people start, women doing the same thing, farming, traveling, fighting, war. Even in the time of Khattab, there are so many women fighting, having war, women going to the masjid, doing i'tikaf in the masjid, traveling, business. Even Umar Khattab appointed a woman in charge of the market. He appointed a woman to command the good and forbid the evil and walk in the streets of Medina. The women used to attend the khutbah of Umar and they used to comment on it and debate him, discuss with him. Nothing changed really. That verse at least makes one thing, that when women go, they put on jilbab. So when women put on jilbab, they become eligible to use public space. So they use public space, but with jilbab, that's all. So nothing changed really. They are still using public space in the past, but a new thing happened. Now they must have jilbab. That's all.
Okay, inshallah, let's move on. This question doesn't seem to be too clear, but maybe we can answer the second part of it. So they're asking, is it good to practice giving Eid gifts to children on both Eids? Some cultures seem to celebrate Eid al-Fitr more than Eid al-Adha. Why does Eid al-Fitr get more importance than Eid al-Adha? And should this be the case?
The thing really is not really important anyway. People should celebrate and happy, give gifts. If Eid al-Fitr becomes more important than Eid al-Adha, it doesn't really matter. In India, they call Eid al-Fitr Choti Eid, small Eid. And Eid al-Adha, they call Badi Eid, the big Eid. But in reality, Eid al-Fitr is the big one. Reason is because it comes after Ramadan, after a long, long time. So people make new clothes and all those things. Then after that, 2 months comes Eid al-Adha. So just they have one Eid. Second Eid is so close. So many people in India, they make a new cloth for their children for Eid al-Fitr. Then they, after Eid al-Fitr, they keep the same cloth. And then when Eid al-Adha comes, they use the same one. Then after that, they start using. So this is a reason really, because Eid al-Fitr comes after such a long time. And Eid al-Adha is very close. So whatever they prepare for Eid al-Fitr, they use the same one in Eid al-Adha. And people become happy more in Eid al-Fitr because it's come after Ramadan fasting. People want to celebrate with eating and drinking. In Eid al-Adha, they already have been eating and drinking. Even if there is actually fasting of Arafah, just one day fasting, so it doesn't make much difference. So in mind of the people generally, Eid al-Fitr had more importance. But both are Eid, both are celebration, both have their own rulings. So don't worry, some people give Eid al-Fitr more importance. There's nothing in Islam to stop people from giving Eid al-Fitr more importance.
Okay, inshallah. Let's see if we can move on to, like I mentioned, some questions aren't too clear. So I'm going to read it out and hopefully maybe someone can help us out. We'll see if we can make it more clear. In a Q&A, it was mentioned that birds did not pelt the stones in Surah Al-Fil, but most of the book refers to, for he sent against them flocks of birds that pelted them with stones. Which one is correct? I'm not sure if this, Sheikh, if this was a Q&A that we had, or maybe that you, I'm not sure.
Class really, I could, there are many things that are more than one opinion. So maybe some other books, whatever they say, if you think that are more convincing, follow that. If what I have said, it makes more sense for you, I made all the arguments. You can refer, actually, I taught this tafsir so many times that you can refer to that, and if it makes some sense to you, follow that. At the end of the day, it is not really such a big thing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not question in the day of judgment why you follow this opinion, why not this, and you can say, I followed that opinion because that opinion of in the most books. In practical life, it doesn't make a difference anyway. Still, you have same prayer, same fasting, same zakah, same hajj. So don't worry too much. But if you want to know my opinion, I've discussed this, so many times really, and it is also mentioned in my book of the Hajj, travelogue, which is translated in English now. I think soon will come. So you can read in English and also in Arabic. It is there.
Okay, inshallah, let's move on to, we have a question from Sadaf. Is it known what year the verse of the veil was revealed? How is the hadith of Umar radiallahu anhu about Sauda radiallahu anha being identifiable relevant as the veil couldn't hide her height?
MashaAllah, Sister Sada, Masha, she has always good questions, and I'm really impressed by her thinking and understanding. I find really my thinking very similar to her thinking. So this is very important really. But I should remind you, Sister, that I taught a course on Asbabun Nuzul, the causes of revelation that people call. And it is one day course, Mawlana Farahi's ideas, Ibn Taymiyyah's ideas, and other people's, Waliullah Dehlavi, all three. So I discussed Ibn Taymiyyah, then Waliullah Dehlavi, and then Mawlana Farahi. I don't know if you attended the course, but I remember that your husband was there. If you somehow can find the link for that, that will answer this question. The truth really is, for many of these verses, there are so many stories. So the Quran was not revealed for a story. Quran always revealed for a general condition. General condition is that now right time has come when the Prophet ﷺ, so family feel that they are not protected enough because he is the leader of the community. In Makkah it was not the case. In Medina in the beginning it was not the case. In Medina, when the conquest happened, some of the battles, now more Muslims are coming and there are more people who are become Muslim and they're not still good in Islam, and hypocrites are well known in Medina and they make all conspiracy. And the Prophet ﷺ house is like house the court. So all these people who good intention, bad intention, evil people, they come to his house. When they come, his wife is there, so they can see his wife, they can discuss with him. Sometimes they come and he's eating his wife, he asks them to eat with them. Like Umar Khattab said, once I came to the house of the Prophet ﷺ, he was eating with Aisha, so he called me and I started, and they eat in the same plate. When Umar was eating, his finger touched the finger of Aisha. So then he realized really that many hypocrites, they come, so maybe their finger touches and they have bad intention, to touch wives of the Prophet or see them or something like that. So he did not like the wives of the Prophet ﷺ to be exposed to the public so openly, especially because his house is visited by all the people. Other people's house, like Abu Bakr Siddiq, Umar, and other, only friends come, only the people who know them. But the Prophet ﷺ is a leader, community leader now. It's a different matter. That's why the need came really at this moment if the wives of the Prophet are treated differently. So then it came to them that when other people come, they can't see them because inside the house, they are in the normal clothes. So now they can't sit with them, they can't eat with them. And when they go outside, they put on jilbab, but they also make sure they cover the face as well. Whenever they pass by the people who could look at them, to then draw, they turn their face or cover their face. To they'll be in jilbab, but as soon as people follow, they put on, just cover the face. Not niqab, but covering the face. But inside the house, now other people, when they come, they don't eat with them. That was done for the house of the Prophet because that's more attractive. The people come there, and so many people come, you can't stop them. Everybody come for consulting, advice, and this and discussion, wrong and good people. And also, when somebody is a very high position, his women become more attractive. So people find more interest in to look into a princess, to a queen, wife of the king. Though maybe there are other women who are more beautiful than the wife of the king, but she becomes more important. Like for example, if there are two girls, one is studied in the Oxford University and one is just ignored, did not do anything. So people who marry, they will prefer the one who has got good education over any. They find more attraction. So the wives of the Prophet were more attracted. People were more interested in them. So that was their need for them to have extra care. That's why when they used to go outside with the Prophet ﷺ, they say we were talking with the Prophet ﷺ, and as soon as somebody else come, we will take the part of the cloth and cover our face so they can't see. So that was for the wives of the Prophet, but jilbab was for everybody. When it came that all the believing women, when they go outside. So but the Prophet's wife, the Quran says, Ya Nisa an-Nabiyya lastunna ka ahadim min Nisa. O wives of the Prophet, you are not like other women. Why? Because other women, people don't find same attraction to them as they find to you, because you are wife of the head of the state and Prophet and all those things. You are different. You should be more careful. So for them there was covering the face as well. For other women, just jilbab, not covering the face. So you find that there are many reports come, the verse about hijab was revealed after this story, after that. No, there are maybe 10, 20 stories. They all happen, around that time. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed. So everybody said after this story, after this, but there's no single story which is called as a revelation. It is general condition that now the time has come, right time, when the wives of the Prophet need more protection because of the way he has become important, like his house has become center of the all politics and hypocrite, everybody comes. That's why the Mawla Farai's opinion is that Quran is revealed for a general condition, not for a specific story. Maybe some verses, but generally it could be that 10, 20 stories at the same time. So they tell you what is happening, but none of the story is called of revelation. It is general condition. I think I made clear. But if it's not clear, please do this visit this course that I taught, and I think your husband has attended. If you not you.
Actually, Sheikh, she did say she attended it. So that maybe you still have access to the course, inshallah. But hopefully this was a bit more helpful, inshallah. Perfect. It's 6:30 on the dot. Jazakallah khairan, Sheikh. I think we'll end it there. And inshallah, Sheikh, hopefully we'll see you next week, same time, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. And likewise to everyone else, if you give me one moment, to everyone else, we have a quick announcement. We've not kind of shared this for a while, but inshallah, we did share it when we did launch Sheikh's new course. And this course is an introduction to Sahih al-Bukhari, and I will put it on the screen. The course is based on Sheikh, it's a 4-day short course based on Sheikh's book, Madkhal al-Ra'i ila Sahih al-Bukhari. It is starting this weekend, so this Saturday and Sunday, 24th and 25th of December, and then 7th and 14th of January. I would say this is your last chance to sign up to the course. So just some quick information about it. There's an introduction to Sahih al-Bukhari. We have had quite intense courses that Sheikh's been doing for the past few years in Sahih al-Bukhari, but this is more of an introduction. So sometimes, people might want to join halfway through the Sheikh's kind of intensive course, and they realize, actually, I think I need a bit of a more comprehensive course, just an introduction before I even go on to studying it intensively, which is why we designed this course. Again, this is one of the most important books in Islamic intellectual history. After the Quran, is said to be the most authentic book in Islam. So I think it's an important book, and many of us don't actually know why. So I think this course would be good. It's not it's not too long. You don't need to commit too much time, and also you will be given access to the recording too, inshallah. So if you head on to, as I've shown on the screen, salam.at.uk/intro Bukhari. Go on to there for more details. You can see the price, you can see the dates, and inshallah, I think it will be really, really good to see you guys there, inshallah. Other than that, like I said, it was so nice to see some of you at the student retreat Sheikh was referring to that we had, and inshallah, hopefully more of you can join the next one, and we can join us on our Islamic scholarship programs for the next year, inshallah. We hope to continue this Q&A and be back next Thursday, 6 p.m. BS GMT, so UK time. If for whatever reason it doesn't work out, please just keep an eye out on our social media, inshallah, and you'll kind of be able to see when we'll be back. Other than that, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone.